Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial, and right now we're going to code a brute forcer for the email, or Gmail should I say. What we will do is we'll code a simple program which will import only one library, which in our case it will be the SMTP library, and we will try to specify the email and the password to brute force, or pardon me, the password list. Now you can also use the email list if you want to, but right now all we will do is just brute force over the password. So it will be rather simple. It is a different brute forcer than, for example, brute forcing any login page online. It is a little bit different. That's why we will code it first. And then in the next tutorials we will continue over the brute forcers for some typical, for example, Metasploit login pages, some online login pages of different websites, and so on and so on. I will show you in the next tutorials how you can actually adapt your brute forcer to any login page you want. But for now on, let us start with the Gmail brute forcer. So let's first of all make directory brute forcers. Go to that directory and nano gmail.py. Oops, gmail.py. We add the user share, or pardon me, user bin Python at the beginning of our code, and let's import smtp lib. Now, first of all, if you want to, we can even use this to be an actual Python 3. So let's import from colored, or from term color, import colored. Now let me just see if I go and run my Python 3, from term color, import colored, works, and import smtp lib also works. So we should be good to go. Let us nano back our gmail.py and let us continue coding. First of all, what we will do is we'll create a simple SMTP server. So let's just call it SMTP server, simple as that. We will do the same thing that we basically did for our actual Wi-Fi stealer, which was basically just give it the Gmail servers and the port of 587. So smtp lib.smtp is the method we want to use, and there between the double quotes specify smtp.gmail.com, and after it you need to specify comma and over port 587. Once you do that, we want to just type here smtp server.ehlo, which is a method from the SMTP server library, and we want to start the SMTP server encryption over TLS. So SMTP server.start TLS, also open and close bracket, and this is our setting up of our SMTP server. What we will use instead of these functions is also the login function, and we will try and accept with a rule that will give us back the SMTP authentication error, from which we can actually find out whether we logged in successfully or we didn't. But before we do that, let us actually specify the password list and the actual username list, or username as an email. So we will have a variable called user, which we will use input for the actual user of this program to input the actual email. And we're using input and not raw underscore input because we are using Python 3 at the moment. Then in between the brackets we can specify something like this, or with a star. The plus sign will be once we actually find the password. So enter targets email address. Then we close the double quotes, we close the bracket. Oops, we already have the brackets closed. And now we want to actually specify the path to a file. So path.wd file equals input. We will prompt the user to actually paste the input path to that password file. So enter the path to the password file. There we will specify the path, or just the name of the file itself in case it is in the same directory, and all we want to do is open that file for reading. So path.wd file equals open underscore file, or we can actually just, maybe you will confuse it if we name it the same. What we will do is we will do something like this. So we'll just name it file equals path.wd file, then we open it up for reading, of course. Close the double quotes, close the brackets, and now we want to type here for each password. So, oops, in this file, so in file, what we want to do is we will try to perform the SMTP server.login function. It is an inbuilt function in the SMTP library, so all we have to do is just use it, and we will use it in the try and except rule. So try, what we will try is SMTP server, or SMTP server, and then dot login, and in here we will specify the user and the actual password. Now make sure that if you have a password list, you need to perform the password equals password dot strip, and what we want to do is we want to strip this from the new line character, which will be \n, and then we enter the triangle of login. In case this does work, we will just print colored, and here plus, so plus password found, and then %s, since we are going to parse a string to this from the password, and then comma, and we need to specify the color, which will be green in this case. We close one bracket, we close second bracket, and then we actually break out of this loop. The next thing we want to do is in the except rule, we want to use except smtp lib dot smtp authentication, error, then 2 dots. In case we get this error, all we want to do is just print wrong password, since we didn't manage to actually connect to the target. So just print right here, colored, with the minus in square brackets, wrong password, and then we can add the password just like this. So comma once again, and then red, so we want to print this in red, and close 2 brackets. Now let us see if we save this, how does this work. So Python 3 gmail.py, smtplib has no attribute smpt, of course, because we actually mistyped the actual error. So smtp, or where was the actual error? Let me just check it out. Okay, smtp, where did we use the smpt? tplib smtp. I can't seem to find where we actually used it. Okay, so here it is, smpt, it should be smtp. First goes t, then p. Let's save this, run it once again, enter target's email address. Oops, before we actually run this, we forgot to actually create the password list, so let us nano password, or pass list, let's call it like that, .txt. Here we will have hello world, password 1234, password 5432, doesn't even matter, 12345678. Then we can have, for example, the real password, which is test 1234 and then exclamation mark, which is the actual fake password that I put for this email for the actual demonstration purposes. Then afterwards we can add another more, so for example volcano, football, and doesn't even matter, so on and so on. Now of course you would use a real password list and not this one. And right now let us run this, enter target's email address, which is Windows 32, then the W, and then this @gmail.com, enter the path to the password file. Now right here you would specify a full path to the password file if it is not in the same directory. Since it is for us, we just specify the name of the file, so passlist.txt. We can see wrong password, wrong password, wrong password, and it finds out the password and it prints it out. It says password found, test 1234, exclamation mark, in actual green. So our Gmail brute forcer works really well. We can brute force passwords to the email accounts with this. even though you shouldn't do it without any permission. I need to repeat it once again. And what we will do in the next videos is we will code some of the brute forcers for the actual login pages online. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!